This video looks pretty awesome. We started it but didn't finish it. This lady's pretty funny. She's the one who did the soy milk, the little skit doing the soy milk thing.
Natalie.
Yeah. Natalie Fulton. Definitely subscribe to her YouTube. She's very active in vegan politics and activism. She's I don't know if it's been voted on already, but she put through 2 ballot initiatives in Denver to get rid of the factory farming and growing animals for the purpose of fur. And so this was a interview she did with a libertarian talk show host. I think this is a big L libertarian, like Libertarian Party libertarian, which is not the kind of libertarian I know as libertarian, but we'll see. Here we go.
This is an interview I recently did for a libertarian podcast called The Ross Kaminsky Show. I'm talking mostly about our ballot measures, but sneak in quite a bit of animal rights content as well. Overall, I'm really happy with how it went. Some vegans may not like this interview because I don't advocate for individual change at all. That is not ProAnimal Future's messaging, and I was there representing them. I think as animal advocates, it's important for us to know the audience that we're speaking to and to try to connect with them in different ways. I'm going to give a little debrief at the end of the video, but I hope that you enjoy it.
You may recall a few weeks ago, I guess it was, I had a guest on from Colorado State University talking about a study that she did regarding the potential economic impacts if a particular ballot measure in Denver were to pass that would ban animal processing facilities, aka slaughterhouses, in Denver. So we talked about that. And Natalie, who is social media lead at ProAnimal Future, which is the organization backing the ballot measure, say, hey, I'd like to join you too and give our side, and said, sure, come on in. And so here we are. So first of all, welcome, and just get close to the mic or pull it close to you. It's very adjustable, so you don't have to lean over too much. And so again, welcome to KOA. And why don't we start with what is the mission of ProAnimal Future, and then we'll get into the ballot measure.
Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I know that in the episode with Jennifer Martin, you said you were 1 billion% against this ballot measure. So I'd like to get you down to maybe, I don't know, 861 million or so.
All right.
So yeah, I'm really happy to be on here. And yeah, I want to start by talking about why we're running these ballot measures in the first place and what our mission is. So we live in the United States, which is supposedly the land of the free, but every year over 10 billion animals are confined and slaughtered. Their freedom is taken from them. They're separated from their friends and family. And when we're kids, we're taught that some animals matter morally: dogs, cats, guinea pigs. We love them. We welcome them into our families. And we're also taught that other animals, cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, are there for us to use how we please. We can eat them. We can wear them. We can eat them. We can wear them.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want with them.
Right.
Over the last few decades, the scientific literature on animal sentience has confirmed that the animals we treat as objects are just as emotionally complex as the animals that we love. Pigs and dogs are the same in their ability to feel pain and suffer, yet we treat them completely differently based on justifications of tradition, culture, and history. We know that many meat eaters are deeply uncomfortable with this industrialized slaughterhouse system and factory farming, but they feel powerless to do anything about it. So this measure seeks to spark a gradual evolution away from using animals as resources, starting at the local level here in Denver.
Okay, so we'll go back and forth, and when you say stuff I want to follow up on, we'll follow up on it. So there's 2 particular ballot measures. We're probably mostly going to talk about one. One is to ban fur, and then we're going to focus on the slaughterhouse one. But sticking with your mission for a second, so is this, do you perceive this, if it succeeds, as an incremental step towards a bigger effort to try to get Denverites and Coloradans and everybody to eat less meat and wear less leather and use animals, kill fewer animals for whatever purpose?
We do not want to tell anyone what to do. We don't want to tell anyone what to eat, but this measure is a way to evolve society at the systemic level away from using animals, calling on restaurants, corporations, legislation, because we feel that the burden of choice shouldn't be on the consumer. So that's why we're not focusing on that. But the world we would want to see would have less animal slaughter and less reliance on using animals as resources. Absolutely.
Okay, that was super clever wording right there. You said we don't think the burden of choice should be on the consumer, which means you don't think consumers should have a choice.
Absolutely not. It's not that I don't think consumers should have a choice, but what I am saying is that in this realm, in our current food system, consumers already don't have a choice. And that's because animal agriculture is heavily subsidized.
So what choice are you saying there should be then? Because they have a choice between meat and Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
Or meat and Impossible Burger, meat and being vegetarian. So they have it. So are you suggesting there should be some other choice?
No, what I'm saying is that, like, yes, you're right. Consumers have a choice, but that choice doesn't have the effect that they would ideally want it to have. For example, if you don't consume any animal products, your tax money is still going to fund animal agriculture, whether you like it or not. So if we didn't have any subsidies for animal products in the US, they would cost 2 to 4 times more than they currently do. So a Big Mac, instead of being $5, would be $13. And we know that price has an outsized
in a free
impact
market,
on
that's
consumer
what it would
choices.
be without government subsidies.
So the government is already very involved, is what I'm saying.
Right. And I don't know if that's true, what the effect of subsidies is on beef pricing.
Oh, yeah, it is true.
Intrusions by the...
This is one of the most fun things ever for me, is calling out libertarians on being carnists because they don't want to talk about the subsidies. They don't know about it. But when I bring it up, they don't want to talk about it because meat and dairy is the most subsidized food we have access to. The subsidies that go towards plant ag are mainly for feedstock for those animals and aren't a fraction of what's actually put into the meat and dairy industry. If the subsidies went away, steak would be $200 a pound, and the market would regulate, the free market would naturally regulate the consumption of meat because it costs so much money to grow an animal, to slaughter it and cut it and dole it out to a bunch of people. It costs so much time, water, food, medicine, vet checks, space, your actual time and expertise. There's a massive amount of energy around producing meat at a caloric deficit. We put billions of calories, millions of calories into these cows just to get hundreds of thousands of calories out of them. We lose a huge amount of calories to these cows peeing and shitting and sweating and all this stuff. These calories could be going towards lowering food costs for people who actually need food. The repercussions of the meat and dairy industry going away would be huge for animals, the people, the world. All kinds of stuff would get better, and it would be more free market. Government is monopolizing the food industry by subsidizing it. They are paying for a tradition to continue going simply because it's been a tradition in this company, and we got to keep those slaughterhouses open because those guys can't lose their jobs. So it's all really strange. But I love how carnists just assume our diet. Oh, you just eat Beyond Burger all day. That's all you eat. Like, what, dude? Like, come on, come up with something better than that. Jeez.
The federal government into agriculture, and actually I'm against all of them, but I don't know if your particular numbers are correct there.
So you're
but all right, I don't want to run out of time. Let's keep
subsidies that go towards making it affordable to eat meat. So you're actually agreeing. This is where the libertarian angle, really, these carnist libertarians, this will always be a major soft spot in their armor. This because these dudes you would not be able to eat meat 3 times a day unless you were royalty or something. You had a lot of money, and that's how it used to be. Historically, it was the kings that ate meat all day. It was the peasants that ate, wheat and beans and stuff like that. So it's all pretty funny how these guys like cherry picking, and and this guy's. Her bringing up the subsidies puts this guy's balls on the fires, because he is a libertarian and he has a libertarian talk show. He's that big. So it's pretty funny. He's all, I don't want to talk about I don't know anything about these subsidies. Yeah, right. You don't know about these subsidies. As libertarians, we pride ourselves about knowing about economics and subsidies and all that other stuff. So it's pretty funny.
Keep going. So what is this proposed? What does this ballot measure say? What did it do?
Sure. So it says that we will close slaughterhouses in Denver and also prioritize the affected employees to get them different jobs.
So who's going to, what does that mean to prioritize? Nice. So right now there's, I think, 160 employees, and it's an employee-owned business.
Doesn't seem too hard to do either.
So you're not only putting them out of work, but also killing all the equity that they've earned in this successful business that, I will note, processes something like 20% of all the lamb in the United States.
Sure. So as far as the employee ownership, only a small percentage of those employees actually own part of the company. We're not sure exactly the numbers, but when we interviewed someone who used to work there, he said that almost no one lasts long enough to get those benefits. Slaughterhouses have between 80 to 100% turnover rate every year, which means that a lot of people who work there now wouldn't even be there by the time the plant closes. But these are not good jobs we're talking about. Slaughterhouse workers have higher rates of PTSD, depression, and substance abuse. So we have different organizations. There's not only Denver's Employment Assistance Program, but also Brave New Life Project, which has been helping slaughterhouse workers transition away for years. And I think I invite anyone listening to ask themselves if they would want to kill animals all day.
Well, I probably wouldn't, but isn't it a little bit elitist or condescending for you to say these are bad jobs and therefore you shouldn't be allowed to have it?
I don't see it as elitist. I see it as pro-worker, because a lot of people who work in these jobs don't necessarily want to be there. They feel as if they might not have other options, even though they do. They could do construction or different types of jobs. The research shows that they have high rates of depression, PTSD. I think that if we can avoid putting people into situations where they're going to experience.
It's not actually PTSD. It's called PITS, perpetrator induced traumatic syndrome. It's a mental health problem you get from being a perpetrator of something is wrong. It's the same thing they get in the military when they kill people. They try and call it something else. What were we talking about the other day?
I don't remember.
How they were they talking about how it was like they got it from it's like the military tries to hide and call it traumatic, PTSD. Oh, I got it from the explosions, or like getting blown up. But it's like, no, you get it from killing people. You get it from killing people. Deep down inside, whatever political beliefs you have, killing's wrong. And doing it hurts you. That's why we watch these videos. The video that we watched the other night, the kid shooting the deer, the immediate reaction, the kid dropped the gun and started crying, and said he feels bad. This is something that if you ignore, that's you're re-traumatizing yourself over and over and over again. And we all have seen the studies. Whenever a slaughterhouse gets started, crime in that area goes up. It skyrockets, especially SAs and DVs, domestic violence. That stuff all skyrockets when these things come around, because the people go into these places, good people possibly, and they leave bad people, unfortunately.
And with karma.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my good Lord. Everybody else's karma. That's the thing. These carnists in one great work that are like, oh, it's okay that I eat meat. No, you are causing trauma to humans that are taking on your karmic inventory for you. So
Right.
you are hurting humans. Yeah, okay, if you don't give a shit about animals, that's fine, but you are responsible for the karmic inventory of these people, these humans that have to work in these hell holes.
Mm-hmm. And like we saw in
Hell on earth.
conspiracy.
Hell on earth exists in two places, in war and factory farms.
Mhm.
Like, that's why we get such bad PITS and PTSD from warriors and factory farm workers. Like, they kill themselves all the time. It's not something we're supposed to be doing, obviously. So how these guys think it's our natural diet simply cracks me up. It really, really, really cracks me up why these guys think that they could say that that's our natural diet when they're not the ones killing the animals, and the people killing the animals are going crazy.
And
Like,
that the only option
come
is
on.
meat. Because that's
Yeah.
as far as his brain can go.
Yeah.
What else do you eat? Meat.
Yeah, true.
A
They're just
little
having
weird.
they're having somebody else shoulder the burden of that, like, terrible. Like, nobody enjoys killing. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, self-defense, sure, and you wouldn't enjoy that.
Unless you're a psychopath.
Only a pure psycho, which is like 1% of the population,
Yeah.
like a real deal psychopath, like antisocial, like pure, like serial killer type of person is the only kind of person that wouldn't be affected by that. And I wouldn't even say they wouldn't be affected by it. It would push them deeper into their psychosis for sure.
Yeah, true.
They probably don't like to be controlled, so they wouldn't like that controlled environment. Psychopath.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you watch we've all seen the videos of these dudes just kicking the animals, sticking them with electric, like shocking them and stuff. Like, it's weird.
See, and they're doing that out of frustration. Like, you can tell that they're like frustrated when they're doing that because they don't know how to communicate with the animals properly, and the animals won't bend to their will. So it's like, they're putting themselves into these like guilt cycles of doing something they know is wrong by abusing the animals because they have to get the job done, when that doesn't even have to be on the table in the first place. People could just not subscribe to that.
Yeah.
The tear and the animal in the Christspiracy documentary was just gut wrenching. The cow that had a tear coming down.
Yeah. If
that?
anyone watching hasn't seen Christspiracy yet, search Christspiracy Watch Party on my channel and watch it. It's a very good movie. We're gonna be fact checking that movie also. Over the next couple of weeks.
We need to dive into those references,
Yeah.
definitely, and look into some of those translations.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to do, but we definitely need to have a follow up because there's going to be a big pushback. I mean, there already is people calling it propaganda, vegan propaganda.
And really clean documentaries are a great way of brainwashing people and lying to them and misinforming them. Not saying that this is what's going on, but it is, it is a possibility. And I would like to know for a fact, all the facts, before I go off defending them. But I think Braxton's got some study notes or something we're gonna look into eventually. Rob Paul.
Yeah, I'm kind of throwing together like a whole organized, I guess, like amalgamation of notes, because I'm taking I put a study copy of Christspiracy on YouTube. Apparently that you can't even really get in trouble for that. They're encouraging people to share it. So Yeah, I put a copy up there that has like subtitles in 5 different languages, but then there's also time stamping, and I want to go through and kind of like cross reference against like other information we've come across. I mean, because we've got like the vegetarian, vegan, Jesus video and all that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. There's a huge crossover, I'd imagine, and we still need to get into that video that Jesus was a vegetarian video.
Yeah.
Very dense,
Yeah, it's
but
very dense.
definitely be good to cross reference with Christspiracy now that we have
Yeah.
it at our fingertips.
And it was cool about the time we did that, we started doing those videos. I did notice a couple other big vegan YouTubers do vegan Christianity videos. I think it was actually David Rams and someone else around the same time. Old World Florida did another one after ours also. That was he goes through every single freaking the Old World Florida. Check out his channel. Definitely subscribe to Old World Florida. He's a fellow team vegan truther, real truther. His whole channel is binge watchable many times. One of the best channels, as well as Mind Unveiled is really good too. Another team vegan channel that's just off the charts good channel. But let's finish this.
Experience trauma from their workplace. It's not elitist to say, hey, we shouldn't do that. It's not elitist to say coal miners shouldn't have to breathe in these toxic fumes. It's taking their safety into account.
That's different though. I think that's different. I understand the comparison you're trying to make. For me, if there's somebody who's working in a slaughterhouse and they don't dig it, but they could go work construction and like it better and make more money, they would go do that. I don't think it's ethical for you to target one industry, and really primarily this is targeting one business, because to the extent that the other ones are very, very tiny. This is basically a bill to target one.
We got a carnist telling a vegan that they're not ethical. Holy crap. I'm really interested to see the bullshit gymnastics this guy's going to try and pull to get through all this stuff and not looking like a fake ass libertarian, which I already know he is, because 99% of libertarians are fake ass libertarians.
He says he doesn't like subsidies, but it's not fair. It's not ethical for her to go after one industry.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like subsidies. So he's a libertarian.
So I don't get it.
Business that you guys don't like, and that rubs me the wrong way.
No, that's not true. I appreciate that concern, and that's something
It rubs me the wrong
it's not
way.
that we just woke up one day and decided to target this lamb slaughterhouse. We want to work up to statewide factory farming bans, and there aren't any factory farms in Denver. There is this industrialized slaughterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
If there were other slaughterhouses, we would be targeting them too. But since there's only one, it just so happens that this is the business that we're targeting.
Right, I get that, but it's still the effect is the same. I just keep coming back. Okay, so
yes, we are targeting.
I had the CSU person on, and I know you guys don't agree very much with that study. To put it gently, do you want to talk about that study for a second?
Absolutely. So the study is extremely biased. The authors claim that it's not, but they have deep ties to the meat industry, both personally and professionally. CSU caught fire earlier this year for generating skewed research for the animal agriculture industry while accepting generous donations from them.
Well,
the study makes false assumptions about consumer choice, and they use made-up numbers and don't show how they got them.
Well, they have like pages and pages of citations. They have lots of citations.
Oh, wow.
So I don't think that's true that they don't show how they got them.
This guy's
also,
absolutely,
they've been in agricultural college forever. Of course they're going to have ties to the agricultural
And
industry.
they shouldn't have said that they weren't biased.
Oh, of course
it doesn't
they'd be
mean they're
biased,
not. I'm not conceding that they're biased. Just knowing people doesn't mean that you're biased. You can have friends in a particular industry and write an honest report. I mean, I say stuff on the air all the time that would
but it doesn't
piss
happen.
off people that I'm nominally allied with. Politically, I think, I don't know.
So this guy's trying to say that a college that is about the meat and dairy industry would unbiasedly write something that would go against the meat and dairy industry. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm not surprised it's coming from a clown ass fake libertarian carnist. Like, these guys should have far better arguments than this. Holy crap. Oh, this school is definitely going to put out studies that may destroy the meat and dairy industry. Right. The school that solely exists to contribute to the meat and dairy industry is going to write an article to debunk itself. Yeah, right, dude. Holy shit. You think we're fucking stupid?
I think you criticize the study by saying it has all kinds of assumptions, and you put forward assumptions of your own to do that.
I was just getting started. I'm happy to go more into specific numbers. So yes,
Write that before
we can disagree about whether
interview.
or not the authors are biased. I am less interested in that and more interested in what the study actually says.
Right.
So it says that 3,000 jobs are going to be lost. That is absolutely not true. An economist from CU Denver said that their reported $861 million number was so ridiculous that it's concerning that it was even listed, much less reported on, because it just wouldn't happen in actuality. Talking about the jobs, 3,000 jobs are not going to be lost because they assumed that eliminating the plant will get rid of all jobs indirectly related to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah,
that's
like
not
drivers who drive their stuff around and things like that. Now,
that's
the thing
not
you're
what
talking
we've
about is
seen
their
in
worst
similar
case.
closures.
The thing, well, but did similar closures result in the banning of an entire industry in a fairly large area? Or are you... what kind of, like, where have we seen a ban like this before?
Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about a ban. I'm talking about like when plants have closed for economic reasons, like the one in Greeley.
Right. Okay. So I again, the particular numbers that you are referencing were the worst case in that study. Yeah. Although I will stipulate to you that when that guest was on my show, she said that they thought the worst case may be the most likely case, rather than the middle case being the most likely case, as you normally see with studies like this. But even the best case is pretty bad. Are you saying that you think the real case is better than their best case?
Absolutely. I'm saying that the study fails to account any of the positives that we could see from this closure. So we shouldn't just be looking at this in terms of closing the slaughterhouse. We should be looking at it in terms of opportunity cost. What could we do instead? Slaughterhouses are known to pollute the neighborhoods.
There's no evidence that this is polluting anything.
They have been violating the EPA's Clean Water Act for at least 3 years.
I don't think that's true.
We have sources for all of this. I've sent it to your blog.
Yeah, I don't think it's true. I don't think they've ever been found in violation of their current.
He's arguing for a industry that is completely supported by subsidies. This is not a libertarian position. Sorry, bro. No wonder you're on the news. You know, you're obviously a clown that'll say anything.
Yeah, it's like arguing
inspected all the time. So we'll have to. One of us is right and one of us is wrong.
Totally. And I invite the listeners to.
Sorry, Bracky. Go ahead.
Let's say it's like arguing against the church and then having the church come in full force. It's like it's a religious mindset. Like, of course, they're going to support each other.
Yeah. No, the fact he tried to say that a scholastic institution that's I know I already repeated myself and said it's just mind-boggling that he would try and say that they'd be unbiased. Like, come on, bro. Like, he obviously thinks his viewers are fucking idiots if he thinks they're gonna like buy these. And you could hear in his voice he's very nervous. He's like, oh shit, this lady knows what she's talking about. And I'm supposed to be this libertarian carnist warrior who's going, my choice to eat meat. It's my choice. It's libertarian. Like, good Lord. Sure. Get rid of the government, then try and eat meat. You won't be able to afford it. Sorry. It will become a delicacy and then probably disappear eventually because the price would just go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. These guys have no clue. These guys are libertarians are supposed to be economically intelligent. And they fail across the board when it comes to the meat and dairy industry and veganism. They have nothing. And you know, a 3-minute conversation with me, they don't even feel like they're a libertarian anymore. They get really mad. They don't want to talk about the subsidies. They don't want to talk about the subsidies at all. And I'm talking about like carnivore diet promoting libertarians. And I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, what type of what planet are you on where you're promoting as a libertarian doubling down on the most subsidized food on the planet? It's not about you having a choice. Libertarian isn't, I get to do anything I want.
check out the blog post to see those sources, because I appreciate that. I want people to have accurate information, definitely. The other thing is that we can think about what businesses would be there instead. Slaughterhouses across the world have been turned into museums, breweries, and other successful businesses. So we wouldn't just be completely losing revenue. There is a positive. And when we look at the positives of treating animals better and moving society away from this cruel industry, it's clear that it's the right choice.
We're talking with Natalie Fulton. She's the social media lead at ProAnimal Future, and they're the main force behind the proposed ordinance in Denver that would ban slaughterhouses in the city and county of Denver. If you live in Denver, you're going to get to vote on this. Their website is proanimal.org.
Imagine.
So, okay, it's going to sound sarcastic.
Imagine arguing for a slaughterhouse. Imagine what kind of piece of shit you'd have to be to do that. What kind of pay? It sounds like he's being paid too, because it doesn't sound like it's in his heart. He's very wobbly in his voice. I wish I could see his face, but he's not very confident. And it sounds like someone who's being paid to fight for something that isn't like something that they're actually naturally wanting to fight for. But imagine what kind of scumbag, evil, Satanist piece of shit would go to his platform of people and lie to him like this. Like, it's the same as these carnivore diet guys. They're the worst of the worst Satanists that we have to deal with. They're lying to people about, they're stealing people's health from them, basically.
Speaking of health, I'm just wondering, do you know what the second most subsidized food bracket is? If meat is the first, do you know? Is it wheat? Is it?
No, not even close.
What is the second? Because I'm wondering if it also
corn, soy,
not healthy.
Meat.
Yeah, it's the subsidized stuff that goes into the feed for the animals. That's like, if you're talking about like vegetables and stuff, like the actual like food that we eat, produce and everything, has just this insanely small amount of money put into it. It's like, I saw some figure that I think it was since 1995 up until like 2020, it was like $30 million for foods that humans eat that are produce, and for like animals it was like in the tens of billions. I want to say like 70 billion.
So it's feeding into the already subsidized model.
Yeah,
so it's subsidizing the feed to go into the subsidized meat.
Exactly. So it's double subsidized.
Double subsidized.
The main reason why we have GMO foods as they have them, especially, specifically GMO corn, GMO soy, it's to be able to produce that massive amount of volume and number to feed that amount of, life, basically.
Yeah. She could have brought that point out to him. It'd been a double whammy.
Yeah, true.
Well, she said in the beginning that she
notice the strategist.
She was representing a group that isn't vegan.
Yeah.
So she couldn't really go drop that many vegan, but she had to hold herself back, basically. But she doing a pretty good job. But
excellent. You mean not alienate from the government too much?
Yeah, basically. And this clown, oh my god, this guy gives libertarians a bad name. Dudes doing shit like this, arguing people for slaughterhouse, and he's like shamelessly calling it a slaughterhouse too. It's like, dude, like, wow, go look at yourself in the mirror and listen to your broadcast and reevaluate what you're doing with your life, bro. Fuck me.
Yeah, Europeans at least make it sound.
What's that?
Europeans at least make it sound fancy and sophisticated by calling it an abattoir.
Abattoir, indeed.
That at least sounds a little more classy and kind of like separates from the obvious immorality of it being a slaughterhouse, like a murder house.
Yeah.
I love lamb, right? Lamb is probably my favorite meat of the common meat.
Gross.
And if you get your way, probably the price of lamb goes up by, I don't know, 20% or something, like nationwide, not just here. And it could be more. I mean, when commodities are priced on the margin. I used to trade commodities, right? You get rid of 20% of something, even if half of that ends up getting replaced, you're talking about a significant price increase. So for people who like eating lamb, for restaurants that serve lamb, all this stuff, you are making this thing that a lot of people enjoy unaffordable. But I'm guessing that's actually what you want.
So no, that's not necessarily it. What I will say is that you are
stealing
unique if
my
you love
joy.
the lamb. Most Americans eat less than 1.5
Lamb.
pounds of lamb per year. You're talking about it being expensive. It's
My
already a
individual
premium meat,
liberty.
way more expensive than other meats. So it's not something that most people are buying regularly. And as far as, you know, you kind of framed it as this is my way and not your way. But I think what we really need to be thinking about is the animals. They're the ones who are most affected by this. They are the ones who have to be killed when they're 6 months old. They have to go through a slaughterhouse where we have video evidence of them suffering well before they died. And at the end of the day, we need to take what they want into account, not just what we want.
So I think that's your best argument. And I've mentioned this to you before we went on the air, that my brother, before he passed away, my brother became vegan. And he wasn't as crazy about it as a lot of vegans. Like usually if there's a vegan in the room, everybody knows because he won't shut up about it. But he wasn't really like that. I talked to him about it and I learned some things, his concerns.
Carnists don't talk about eating meat
potential
ever.
suffering of animals in industry, in large scale agriculture. Do you think that there is a way in any given part of animal agriculture that the animals could be harvested, killed, that doesn't cause them to suffer greatly? And if such a thing did exist and you believe that animal didn't suffer, would you be okay then with eating it?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. And as far as vegans being extreme, I may be more on the extreme side. So I wouldn't say that my views necessarily represent the organization that I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's great about our ballot measures is that whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or eat meat, this will help create the kind of world with less animal cruelty. And that's where we're focusing right now in the areas where we agree with people. As far as if animals did not suffer at all, we have to take lifespan into account. Sheep can live for 10 to 15 years. And in the industry, they're killed at 6 months old. Even if there was a painless way to do that, I think it would be wrong because they should have the right, their most basic fundamental right to their life. And that's so important. And if we were talking about dogs or cats, you know, we wouldn't be framing it in this way. There's a festival in China called the Yulin Dog Meat Festival, and people are always protesting it. They're not asking for bigger cages or better ways to kill the dogs. They're asking for it to stop completely. And that's what I think we should be doing. As far as if there's like a humane way to kill an animal, humane means compassionate. Can you compassionately kill an animal who doesn't want to or need to die?
Yeah, again, I think I think those animal related arguments are your best arguments. I think the economic arguments aren't very good. And I think that what you're doing is necessarily removing choice and killing jobs.
So for one, economic argument, he said, I don't know about that stuff. I don't know about those numbers. That means he's ignorant to those numbers. So what is he disagreeing on? If he's all, I don't know if those are true, but I'm going to just ignore that you said that and agree with myself. Like, what the fuck kind of stupid fucking arguments are this? How does this guy have a radio show that millions of people listen to?
Yeah,
that's
nobody
mind-boggling.
She's very well media trained. She is excellent.
Yeah, she's really good.
She'll follow his question that he thinks he's nailing her between the eyes. And she'll go, great question. I like that question. And it's a false lure. Like, she's excellent. Someone needs to send him mint jelly with a Beyond Burger.
That sounds pretty good.
That was like earlier when he was all, oh yeah, this sheep farm has been here for 70 years. And she's all, yes, they've been polluting our city for 70 years. Like, she answers the question she wants to answer instead of the question.
She's
that's
brilliant.
So it's like, and that's like, if you're going to go out and do this kind of stuff, you have to learn all these tricks. You don't even, you know, you just say what you want to say. Who cares? You know, like I was harassing Dr. Drew for a little bit. He was on a show in LA. John Bob's here. He had a live show up and he's gone.
He was.
He had a live show where he took callers in LA every morning. And so I started calling him in, and I would say crazy shit on his KABC TV, KABC radio show that millions of people were listening to. I would just, the second I was allowed to talk, I would just say all kinds of stuff, you know, in the form of a sentence, but it was a very loaded question. And usually, I don't know, we'll watch them someday. They're pretty funny. Dr. Drew just completely left himself open to being like critiqued pretty hard. But yeah, if you ever get the opportunity to do any serious media stuff, you need to like script how you go in there. And you basically, I mean, especially if you're arguing for veganism, never listen to the questions. Just answer the questions you want to answer, or answer their questions as if they asked you. a question you wanted to be asked,
Mhm.
because they're always going to be combative. They're always going to be trying to get you in a gotcha. So really, with the Carnists, you don't even pay attention to them, and you just you know
Yeah.
you don't want to get yourself
Mull
kicked
over
out.
the
You
idiots.
just you mull over them basically. John Bob, we're gonna watch this video in a little bit about the that's from the Mark Passio after group, and there's a guy who sounds exactly like you in the group. It's absolutely hilarious. Mark Passio's John
Really?
Bob. Yeah, he's
I
natural
wonder if
law
we're
John Bob.
related.
Not Christian John Bob. Do you know who that is, Alicia?
I might.
He's
It
got,
got me
like,
a little.
John-
It got me a little coffee there. Yep. I'll
Yeah.
clear my throat. I might.
John Bob's kind of got this deep voice and kind of talks like this a little bit, and there's
Northeast.
I'll say
Northeast
same,
accent,
but
kinda.
different.
He was like one of the only other guys talking on that video you sent me the other day. But anyway, let's finish this so we'll get to some other stuff.
And you're willing to do that because you think this other goal is more important.
It's not that, like, these farmers we're talking about that probably won't lose their jobs in this measure, but may in future ones. We don't want them to stop farming. We want them to start farming foods directly for human consumption, like different types of plant-based foods, which we're already seeing. Farmers can look up Rancher Advocacy Program or Transformation, and those organizations will help them transition.
Right. So folks farmers, maybe ranchers who are raising sheep now, if there's no processing facility close enough, they might have to switch to something else. But doesn't that really feel like an incredible heavy hand of government? Like, I think it shouldn't be legal for this ballot measure to even be on the ballot. I think what you're trying to do, even though I fully understand.
The heavy hand of government is the subsidies that's paying for this industry to stay in existence. The free market would not allow this stuff to happen. It just
Imagine
they're paying for 3/4 of the meat that people eat, just straight up paying for it. It's not economically possible to grow an animal, slaughter it, and sell it at a profit. It's just absolutely not possible.
Prices that are at now.
Yeah, and so they'd have to. Yeah, of course, it would have to, like you said earlier, it would have to, the price would have to triple or something of meat, and there wouldn't be like shit cheap meat anymore, which is really the stuff that's killing everyone. But so yeah, this guy's so cherry picky about this argument. I would have loved to have been up there and just roasted this guy who clearly has no fucking clue what libertarian is in the least bit. Oh, I'm gonna heavy hand a government to stop a disgusting industry that's polluting the brains and environment of this city. But the heavy hand of government paying the subsidies is okay. That's totally okay because it's my meat. I need my meat.
what a fucking beta. Imagine paying people money to destroy our children's waterways.
John Bob, this guy I know you just got here. This guy's been arguing for slaughterhouses this whole video. As a libertarian who's supposed to be fiscally conservative and economically conservative and, not and be against subsidies and shit. And this dipshit who is a libertarian talk show guy it's absolutely piece of shit, scumbag, satanic fucking scum piece of shit.
So he's just like the rest of the fake freedom movement, right?
Yeah. But this guy actually has a platform, so it makes it worse. People believe him no matter what. He's got such a following. Nobody questions what he says.
I always get shocked by shit like that. Like on fucking Padini's thing. Fucking, there's always like 5, 10, 15 people that are just
Padini when he's in the chat, dude. Then he's gonna think we talk about him. Padini's in the chat right now.
That's good.
Being a little baby.
Okay, that's just fine. I've never said anything about Padini behind his back that I wouldn't say to his face. Fucking Padini's fucking Larkin Rose's lapdog, and fucking Padini has a couple lapdogs. It is what it is.
Every few weeks, it seems like we have a Beetlejuice moment. Say his name enough times, he just pops up.
That was.
Oh, there he is
I
too.
believe I invited him, or maybe
You
I
got nothing
invited
to hide,
him
Justin? Where do you get your money
conspiracy
from then? What do you do for a living, Justin Padini? I know you don't live off of just that rent money you get from your one unit you own.
I'm a criminal,
You got nothing to hide.
and I'm proud of being a criminal. Fucking, I don't
your
support
goal with
terrorists.
protecting animals. From my perspective, I think using government to do this way, I think, is an immoral use of government, even though I appreciate your deeper goal.
I'm really glad that you brought this up.
And we have 1 minute.
Yeah, he's not going to give her any time. Absolutely hysterical. So it's immoral for her to for the community to decide to shut down a toxic, gross industry, but it's not immoral for him to allow the government to put a gun to our head to steal our money to pay for his meat. I wish she would have. Oh, if she says this right now, she says, "I am glad you said that." I hope she says that right now.
Okay, I agree that government control is bad. That's why we're going through citizen initiatives. We are citizens. We came up with this law. We petitioned to get it on the ballot.
Yeah.
And now citizens are going to vote for it. It's by no means government control. It's people choosing the kind of future that they want to create.
Right. And I think they shouldn't be allowed to vote on it.
Like
Just the
her.
same way I think they shouldn't have been allowed to vote on reintroducing wolves to other parts of the state where it'll never affect them. Yes, it's voting on it, but it's still voting to use the power of government to shut down one business. And I don't like it. I will say, though, Denver is a very blue city, and it wouldn't surprise me if you win. I think there's going to be a lot of money spent against you, but I think all else being equal, if people just go read the ballot measure and they don't hear any advertising one way or another, I think it's got a decent chance of passing. I'll give it the last 17 seconds.
I absolutely hope you're right. And we just want to make this clear that if you care about animals and you think that they should have a choice in the matter, I appreciate your dedication to freedom and the non-aggression principle. I'm saying it should apply to animals as well.
Natalie Fulton is social media lead at ProAnimal